My character is Kieran Valima.
Duke Jackson.
Yeah. Duke Jackson.
I'm playing Wilbert Warmbelly, but his friends and confidants call him Pudge.
Your journey is at the request of Celise, a former adventuring companion and friend, who has since found her calling as a tutor to the children of Countess Regina Fairfax, Lady of Dragonholt. Have we discovered the hidden message in the letter from Celise?
It's definitely plot to kill noble family.
Unsure of the urgency Celise intended, you figure it best to make your way to meet her before too much longer. I think maybe let's go to the smithy. You know, I think it'd be fun to purchase some equipment.
All right, yeah.
Sorry guys, we're gonna each mark off 25 gold.
I'm starving. We're going to the library.
Celise is resting comfortably in a chair with a book on her lap. Just go a second to register. Regina is sick. She seems a little young to be dying already, but humans will do that to you, I suppose. So her daughter Sonia was poised to inherit the county, but Sonia came to me and said she had received a letter from Uncle Kirik, Regina's brother. Kirik demanded that Sonia renounce her position and support Kirik's claim to Regina's seat. Sonia refused him, of course. Days later, Sonia fell from her horse, struck her head on a rock, and died.
I'm gonna go on my own. I have other business to attend to.
The Drunken Hog is not open until late evening. This encounter is complete.
Ah!
I probably should have went with Celise.
Yeah, probably a good idea, but go to the manor then?
I don't have the best decision making.
You know, we need to get in touch with the villagers. We need to earn their trust. Let's go to the village hall. What do you say?
Okay.
5100. We can flip ours back over now. Village Hall. The Village Hall is easily the largest building in town, a tall edifice of pale gray stone with peaked windows of glass at regular intervals. The main entrance is a pair of heavy oak doors, standing at the top of a short but broad stone stair and flanked by a pair of columns. 5 or less time has passed today, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to read the entry below that corresponds to the current day. A young woman with her hair in dozens of braids ponders the message board. She appears to be sounding out the words of the various missives posted there under her breath, reading slowly and with difficulty. The message board announces that the next market day is in 2 days. That would be good to know. And that there will be a village bonfire that same night. Might want to make that village bonfire night 3. There's also
Bonfire, you say? Sounds like fun time.
Sounds too controlled for your liking. There's also a posting offering a shop for sale, slightly damaged. The price is quite modest considering the size of the building and its location. You notice a weathered page that states a reward for a passing hero who can help with a goblin infestation. The hero is to report to Fior Brightmall at the smithy. This is our first time visiting this location while it's open, so we're going to read entry 3367. The town clerk coughs politely to catch your attention. Then steps forward and introduces himself. Hello, he says. My name is Marcus. I serve as the clerk for all village business. He smiles an anemic little smile and tugs on his brown tunic. You just came into town with that orc woman, no?
No.
Story point F7 marked?
No.
Then we're going to read entry 5729. You confirm that yes, you've just come into town. Good, yes. Glad to hear it. How was your journey? Uneventful, I trust? You mentioned the bandits on the road and the clerk's eyes. Blast those bandits. I hope her ladyship does something about them, and soon. You also mentioned the fallen trees blocking the road, and he cocks his head. Oh, yes? Well, we cannot have that. The road is our main source of trade with the outside world. He shuffles into a side office, piled high with ledgers and pamphlets and historical records, and flips through stacks of official-looking papers. Eventually, he finds one he likes and scribbles out a missive. Then, marks it with a heavy pewter seal. That will do, he says, tucking the document away. We must clear that road as soon as we can. This encounter is complete. Well, we do know now that the smithy is looking for help with something, if we want to try there again, but...
Guys,
We should go to the manor.
I think...
Well, you're in charge, Pudge. If you insist we go to the manor, we can go back.
I say we go to the manor.
Okay. Back to the manor. 1400. Story point V6 is marked now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I6 is not?
No I6.
Now we're going to entry 4283. The serving girl, Matilda, comes to greet you. Miss Celise is tutoring young Lord Philip at the moment. I can show you to her if you'd wish.
Yes, please.
Your options are either please lead the way or no need. Sorry to bother. We just leave. Yeah, second thoughts.
Please.
Lead the way.
Yeah.
3, 6, 3, 9. Yeah,
That was gross.
that's right.
That was disgusting. He couldn't have drank that any grosser.
Yeah. 3639. Matilda leads you up a spiral stair to the left and through a well-appointed salon. You hear quiet voices through the double door at the back of the room, and Matilda knocks softly. Miss Celise, she says, you have company. At a muffled call of, come in, the serving girl opens the door and steps aside to let you pass. Through the doors, you find a somewhat chaotically decorated space. There's a pair of long writing desks under the windows, a long chaise and a cushioned chair lie arranged beneath a bookcase filled more with oddments than books. A fleshless deer skull, a large glimmering rock, a crudely fashioned wooden horse, a colorful assortment of feathers, books ranging from children's primers to classical poets, and a dozen other treasures of more sentimental than monetary value. An easel stands in one corner, its canvas a muddy mess of color. At a table near the center of the room sits Celise, rising to greet you, and a startled-looking young man you take to be Philip. Welcome, says Celise with a smile. May I introduce you to Philip, Regina's youngest child? Philip stands and bobs his head. How do you do? He has light brown skin, soft black hair, and green eyes set in a delicately featured face. He smiles shyly, then stands uncertain of what to do next. And Rochelle, the Countess's daughter and heir, says Celise, turning to indicate a young woman slumped in a chair by the window, a book across her lap. Rochelle, we have company. Please rise. Oh, says Rochelle, shooting to her feet. Hello, so good to meet you. She offers a stiff bow and then rolls her eyes and grabs hold of both edges of her dress to drop into a proper curtsy. She is both taller than her brother and broader in the shoulder, with curly brown hair. But she shares his same green eyes, light brown skin, and delicacy of face. You guys are disturbed. I'm sorry I bungled the courtesies again, Celise, didn't I? You did just fine, dear, says Celise. A curtsy or bow is usually sufficient, no need for both. She turns to the serving girl and nods her head. Thank you, Matilda, that would be all. Mark story point I6.
Want a bite?
We were just in the middle of our studies for the day, says Celise. Yeah. Philip was explaining the Council of Barons and the rules surrounding its operations, and Rochelle was reading. Celise bends down and picks up the broad folio that Rochelle dropped in her haste. A fencing manual. Really, Rochelle? Rochelle grins and shrugs. You told me to improve my mind. Aren't you the one who told me battles are won as much with the mind as the body? Keep practicing that rhetoric, my dear, and perhaps one day it will be as fast as your sword.
Damn.
Such a bad friend. Philip steps toward you. Excuse me, you were here with Celise at Naricol, weren't you? Oh, I think I figured out the K. Wait, no. I still don't know what the K was.
Did we kill that kid? We killed him.
I ate his arm.
Please, would you tell me the story? She keeps promising that she will, but she never does. You open your mouth, but before you can begin to speak, Celise cuts in. That's enough, Master Philip. It's time to resume your studies. Rochelle, you are plainly bored out of your wits. Please find someplace else to be before you distract your brother. Probably time for my daily practice anyway, Rochelle agrees, bowing to you slightly and stepping through the side door. Celise turns to you. My friends are always welcome to join our studies, of course. So, your options are, we can either study with Philip and Celise, we can practice swordplay with Rochelle, or we can take our leave. Ooh. Children.
We're gonna... Oh, wait, I've already made my choice. Or do I run this account?
No, this is all you.
We're gonna study.
Going to 8996.
I'm sorry, dude.
I'm gonna go do the sword play.
Don't kill me, dude, please. It's a lot of fat, though. A lot of gristle.
You join Philip and Celise at the table as Philip. Did I say Philippe?
That's Philippe.
You join Philip and Celise at the table as Philip explains to her the custom of the Deccan lords to rule through the Council of Barons. Celise asks clarifying questions and asks him to name his sources several times, sending him scrambling through a collection of books and newspapers on the table. In the event of a split vote, who decides a course of action, asks Celise. The council was formed with 13 lords to prevent just such an occurrence, says Philip, pointing to a dog-eared copy of The Last Days of King Dakan. But the 13th chair has been empty for centuries at the night of betrayal. So the barons can become tied, in which case, Philip pauses in thought. The steward of the citadel would be asked to vote. Are you asking me or telling me? You're reasonably certain that Celise knows the answers to all these questions, but watching her put Philip through his paces is an education in itself. Mark 1 progress in academic study. What does academic study get us, Graham?
As long as 6 progress is marked in academic study, you may learn any of the following skills: alchemy, arcana, history, reasoning, runes, or survival. At the cost of 1 experience per skill, you may learn a new skill at any time.
Cool. All right. After some time, Rochelle walks back into the studio, now dressed in a fencer's doublet and hose, flushed and breathing hard. Still at it? She asks. Time passes. We're going to entry. Time passes. Entry 4765. That's enough for today, says Celise. Philip, good work today. Rochelle, thank you for indulging me earlier. You are still my tutor, says Rochelle, even if I'm not a child anymore. I'm not either, says Philip. Keep telling yourself that, Sprout, says Rochelle. Philip sticks his tongue out at his sister. She puts her thumb against her nose and blows a raspberry. For the moment, they both seem impossibly young. There's a pause as if both children are thinking of something else. Then Philip bows to the room. I must take my leave. It was good to meet you, he says to you. Where are you headed? Asks Rochelle, untying her doublet and following Philip out of the room. Shall I come with you? Talbot's already got the horses saddled, Shell. I don't need a wet nurse. Both siblings clatter down the stairs, and you find yourself alone with Celise. So, she says, tea? Would you like to join Celise for tea and snacks? Or take your leave? I mean, snacks are on the table. I'm assuming you're going to take this. Yeah.
Just give me the snacks. I don't even care about the tea. Just give me the snacks. Is it ham? Is it ham?
That's his kind of snack.
Whole ham.
You adjourn to the salon and sit enjoying the sun through the south windows. Celise rings a bell, and the raven-haired serving girl appears. Tea, please, Matilda, thank you. You chat briefly about her young charges as you wait. Humans recover so fast, says Celise. I suppose they have to with lives so short. They miss their sister terribly, but life continues. Since my return, and thank you for that, I've seen them smile and even heard them laugh from time to time. She's been here for like half an hour since we... Yeah. Matilda returns with a tray, including a silver tea service and a cluster of small flaky biscuits. Wow. Celise thanks her and dismisses her. You each recover a stamina, which I'm at full, but whatever.
Put a coin at Matilda.
Ding. You get a stamina. You recover stamina. So your options are to ask her a question, Pudge. What have you been up to all these years? What can you tell me about the Fairfax household? Or what do you know about Kirik?
Let's get right to it. What do you know about Kirik?
Okay, we're going to 9442, back of the book.
Get right to that.
I've never met Regina's brother myself, says Celise as she dunks a biscuit in her tea. Honestly, they don't discuss him much here. I gather that he was not pleased when Regina was named Lord Holland's heir. Lord Holland had no other children to my knowledge, and Kirik was nearly a man grown, trained, and groomed to command when he was set aside for Regina.
Lord Holland?
I assume he must have left Dragonholt and hasn't been heard from since. Now it seems he might be back. He reached out to Sonia and asked her to announce her inheritance and support Kirik's claim to the title. She refused him, and she wound up dead. I don't think that's a coincidence. At length, you finish your tea, and Celise stands and excuses herself, saying she has some correspondence to catch up on. The serving girl returns to escort you from the manor. Time passes again, and the encounter is complete. Now, who has a stone? Graham and I.
Smithy and get the
Duke.
We're going to the Smithy.
You going back to Smithy?
Yes.
See if we can help out the goblins.
We got to become friends with people in this town, so Smithy it is.
Smithy was 5780. Okay.
Kill some goblins. Eat the goblins.
5, 7.
Is there anything you won't eat?
Well, he just ate Philip, so...
Vegetables? I don't like veggies that much.
I think that's healthy.
Unless they're in cheese. I like broccoli and cheese. Cauliflower and cheese.
All right, we're back at the Smithy. 5 or less time has passed today still, right? 5 or less?
Yeah. It's 5 or less, yes.
No.
Okay, is story point N1 marked?
You know it ain't.
Don't know, that's why I asked. Okay, so we're going to entry 4422 in that case. All right, this is the part where she takes us into her stockroom. We can see the stuff she has on sale. She tells us that Bozarth is available for special commissions for a price. And we're back to where we were. We can either purchase new equipment again. We can contract Fior to spend for forge a magical sword. We can ask if there's anything we can do to help, or we can leave the smithy.
Does any of those require anything?
The sword requires a war rune, and of course, purchasing new equipment requires us to spend gold.
You're gonna let us help, or I'll kill you.
So you're gonna ask if there's anything we can do to help?
No, I'm telling.
Okay.
What he means is there anything we can do to help?
Shouldn't let.
Let me translate.
Ooh, this is very end.
Translate-
9,888.
Translate from Dukish into common.
Common.
He is a human.
Yeah, but he was speaking in Dukish. When he says,
Dukish.
give me some information or I'll kill you, what he means is I'm helping.
You want to help? Fiona asks, her eyebrows rising. You understand that my apprentices actually pay me, right? She reaches for her crutch and stands. But I'm sure I could find something useful for you to do. Have we done story point B1?
Nope. She's gonna ask me to sweep.
I'll tell you what would really help, she says, stomping towards a rack of shelves and papers. There's a silver mine south of here, past the Willow Grove. I'd like to get it reopened, but there's a small goblin problem. You wouldn't know any adventuring heroes who have some free time, would you? Your options are offer to clear out the silver mine if we have 3 or more fame, which I believe we do.
Yes.
Or we can offer our assistance for simpler matters.
Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
Simpler.
No.
We will simply help you with the simple goblin problem, silver mine.
Yes.
Hallelujah. All right, so we're going to entry 7417. Fiora looks you up and down before she rummages through a shelf full of old papers and forgotten work requests. She crosses to a large table and unrolls an old map, yellowed with age, and delicately places weights on the sides. This is a map of the silver mine, she says. It is said to be the richest in the region, but it was abandoned during the war when all the workers were pressed into military service. You nod, absorbing the information, and Fiora continues. After the war, we discovered goblins had taken to living in the mines. With so many of our workers killed or injured in the war, we didn't have the forces to evict the squatters immediately. Now there are so many of them, there's not much we can do. You inquire if there's anything else you'll need to know before you go, and Fiora nods grimly. Here's where the rooster becomes the cockatrice, she sighs. We had the area scouted. The scout said there's one goblin who seems to be leading the others, a great big one. She gestures to the main entrance to the mines. The goblins have fortified the main path, but here, she points at an emergency access tunnel, is well concealed. If the goblins know about it, they seem to give only minimal attention. Give it only minimal attention. That's your route in. You look at the map, casting your eye along the twisting passages. The mine is a model of efficiency, with the vast majority of the mine dedicated to work. Only a few rooms set aside for alternate purposes. 2 rooms catch your eye, the pipe works and the blast works.
Oh.
You can ask about either the pipe works or the blast works.
I'll tell you what, Smithy. We're gonna ask about... I'm asking you about... Which were that? What are the pipes?
Pipe works or the blast works?
Ask her about the pipe works. Yeah.
I want to know about the blast works.
He means the pipe works.
Never trust
speaking
Pudge.
Dukish.
Never trust
Doing
this
the blast
man.
works, that's what he said. 9796.
Never trust you, Pudge.
Those are areas meant for storing and mixing blasting powder, an alchemical compound that was used to excavate large areas of solid rock. I know rooms like that had a fair number of safety features in place to keep the contents as stable as possible, but you never know how well something like that really works. Well, possibly one well-trained in the alchemical arts might know, but I couldn't say for sure. The one thing I can tell you for certain, she stares at you dead serious, leave your lantern outside the room. She holds that piercing stare until you emphatically agree.
Yes.
And now we
Got
can,
it.
we can either ask about the pipeworks or ask if there's anything else you should know. We should know.
Is there anything else we should know before I kill you?
Fiora nods. Follow the southern road out of the village past the Willow Grove. If you stay on that road, you can't miss the mine. And one last thing. She looks at you seriously. The mine has been abandoned for years, and I highly doubt the goblins have improved things. Take care while you're down there, and consider your actions well. It's a very unstable environment. Fiora sighs. But remember, we want the whole mine again. We want the... Sorry.
I grew up in an
Check
unstable
that.
environment.
She sighs. But remember, we want the mine whole. It would cost the county a fortune to excavate the tunnels again. We'll pay you part of the reward up front to cover expenses. She drops a heavy pouch of coins on the table, and we've gained 50 gold.
Holy hell!
We visited her twice, and we've made 25 gold out of this. That's a good deal. You'll get the rest of the reward after you've reclaimed our mine, she says Fiora with a laugh. She claps you firmly on the back. Don't let us down, eh?
Okay, guys. I know where we need to go. We got to go north.
Yeah.
She said bring lanterns.
Just keep them on all the
I
time.
was paying attention.
Mark story point B1. Time passes.
Time pass.
Shouldn't we have 75 gold? It was 25 each.
Was it 25 each?
Yeah.
It wasn't 25 total.
Well, it's 25 each, but I guess, okay, yeah, I guess that was a group.
So it was 75, so we should
25.
have
So
all
we're at
75.
7. You should
75.
have just kept it as it was.
Yep, well, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's a good point, Graham. This encounter is complete. My turn. I think, gentlemen, now it is time to go to the Drunken Hog.
All right, yeah, let's get messed up.
3,500.
We're at 6th time, right?
Yes.
Time to get chin deep in some swill.
Pudge, do I get to kill the goblins?
No, we let them live.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I have a soft
Back
spot.
at the Drunken
We
Hog.
burn the mine down.
Okay, good.
Back at the Drunken Hog. The long common room is hazy with smoke from the hearth and the pipes of the patrons. A burly human man with a shaved head and a pointed beard is arm wrestling with an equally burly human woman covered in tattoos. A small crowd has gathered, excitedly exchanging coins as they wager on the outcome. This is our first time visiting this location while it's open, so we're going to entry
We got throw coins in.
6166.
That was expended, actually. So who chose the Drunken Hog?
He did. So
We're
all back, yeah.
Okay.
The Drunken Hog's common room is long and narrow, its rafters too low and its windows too high and small. The dim lighting and rushes on the high floor hide what you judge from the smell is a terrible conglomeration of sick and mess and spilled ale. None of the patrons seem in the least put out by the squalor, and the room is full of raucous celebration and surly solitary alcoholism in equal measure.
My kind of place now.
Against the long east wall lies a counter of rough-hewn wood, as much palisade as bar. Behind it stands a gaunt orc woman, her cheeks marked with scars too regular to be accidental. At the counter leans a tall human man with broken veins and the red flush of alcohol coloring his speech. A short but heavily muscled gnome man perches atop a stool close at hand. They appear to be locked in an argument. "I'm telling you, Thelga, there's no such thing as gnomes," says the human man to the orc. The orc woman raises an eyebrow and nods her head towards the gnome. Right? Yeah, he's clearly a gnome sitting right next to the human. "So, what about Norman, then? What's he? He even spells his name with a G." The gnome finishes his drink in one gulp. "Yeah, man. How do you explain me sitting right here if gnomes don't exist?" The human makes a face somewhere between offended and pity. "Don't be so hard on yourself, Norm. You're just short. There's no reason to call yourself a gnome." He pats the gnome seriously. He has to be a gnome on the shoulder. Norman brushes the human's hand aside. "Gnome isn't an insult. It's my race," he exclaims, shaking his head. "All right, what about Sapphire? Oh, the new girl, Sapphire's niece." He trails off, snapping his fingers for a moment. "Miriam." "Mariam," corrects the orc woman. The human man looks almost shocked. "Who?" "The little one that just came into town with the orc. She can't be more than a decade old. What are you on about?" "I swear, Reginald, you're just impossible to deal with." He slaps 2 coins on the bar. "I need another drink, Thelga. This idiot is too much." The orc woman behind the bar chuckles and pours him another mug of ale, then pockets the coins. "We can either eat, drink, and engage in tavern banter, or we can leave the Drunken Hog."
It's your choice, Kieran.
We haven't had a thing to eat all day. Or drink.
Oh, well, that's not true.
Or engage. What?
That's, when we
had some biscuits in the morning. It's been a while.
Tea.
I'm feeling a bit peckish. Let's have some food.
Let's get messed up and burn some buildings.
Guys,
now.
I've been drunk this whole time.
I bet you
You
can.
have that flask.
Probably shouldn't drink anymore.
You approach the bar and order refreshments. Thelga, the orc bartender, pours you a drink in a chipped wooden cup and ladles out a helping of stew atop a slice of stale bread in a wooden trencher. "Only the best," she says in a leaden voice. You each recover 2 stamina.
I'm back to full.
I'll have a beer with 8 shots of vodka in it.
You'll have vodka with a bit of beer.
I'm back to full, y'all.
Are you both back to full?
Yep.
See? Good thing we ate. You eat and drink and find the food improves as you drink. The crowd continues to argue and boast all around you. Going to entry 7622. At the bar, Reginald continues his incoherent insistence as to the non-existence of gnomes. Norman, for his part, seems to have put that argument aside in favor of trading boasts with an old human man missing several of his fingers. The stories and rumors the two of them swap seem more than simply improbable. I can either listen to rumors and stories, I can brag about my own adventures, I can argue with Reginald that gnomes exist if I am a gnome, which I am not, sorry.
Why can't I do these things?
Because I have chosen. We can look for an excuse to start a tavern brawl. That's not my character. I literally have, I enjoy a good fight, but try to avoid instigating them on my personality, so I am not going to choose that option. Sorry, Duke Jackson.
But Duke doesn't mind instigating.
Or we can finish our meal alone. We're going to listen to rumors and stories. One of these stories being traded around the smoky room catches your attention. It revolves around a local hero, perhaps dating back to the Dragon Wars, who could fight dragons and win. I am telling you it's impossible, exclaims Norman. No one could fight a dragon and win, not without magic, not even a big job. I never said it weren't with magic what he done it, says the old man with the missing fingers. This hero, a great and powerful magic, what he had, like to freeze a dragon's fire in its very throat. If we had magic like that, the Dragon Wars would have gone very differently, observes Thelga. And this fella done died, didn't he just? Says the tale teller, and his magic were burned with him, not far from this very spot. More likely it died with him, says Norman. You don't bury perfectly good magic, not when there are dragons to consider. Mayhap it were the dragons what buried him. Certain his tomb is a haunted place now. What I been there myself, hadn't I? Just to the north of the village it be, but that howling, it chilled me bones.
What's that accent?
It's this guy's accent, Will. More like you heard the winds and made up the tome to make yourself feel better, scoffs Norman. Let's have another drink. Mark story point B3, time passes. We can either find something else to occupy us, which requires 7 or less time having passed. Where are we at?
7.
Okay, which we could do. Or we can leave the Drunken Hog.
Let's find something else. Let's do something else.
You want to get out of here?
No.
It's a little... You want to stay and do something else here?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. 7622. Well, we're back to where we were with, Reginald being all weird, Norman ignoring him, talking to the old guy.
Read the whole thing again.
Nope. It's not even long, but we can brag about our own adventures, argue with Reginald that gnomes exist, look for an excuse to start a tavern brawl, or finish our meal alone.
Punch someone in the face.
All right, Duke chooses to find an excuse to start a tavern brawl.
Okay.
We're about to get injured.
I don't do brawls. I do stabbing. And we just go around stabbing everyone in the pub. Get kicked out of the town. We gained their trust, though.
You order a tankard of cheap yellow beer and look around the room for a likely target. Not far from the bar, you find an enormous human man sitting on a stool with his back to a wooden post. He stares at the fire, watching the flames with a scowl, until you accidentally stumble and spill your beer all over his colorless shirt. What'd you do that for? He speaks, staring down at his soaked and dripping torso. I don't... He sniffs, dabs at his nose, then begins to cry in great hiccuping sobs. Suddenly, a hand claps on your shoulder, and you're spun to stare face to face with the gnome regular Norman. You made Tiny cry, friend, growls Norman, and you're gonna pay for that. He roars, shoves you back, and leaps to the floor, shucking his vest and revealing a surprisingly well-muscled body. Fight! 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 Roars the crowd.
Fight!
And we go to entry 1200.
Mess him up, Norman! That right in the face.
Norman throws a punch. You step aside, someone throws a broken wooden mug at the back of your head, and the next thing you know, the entire tavern is a riot of fists and flying furniture. Reginald climbs on top of the bar and lays about himself with a stool. Norman launches himself at a woman with silver teeth and wrestles her back into a headlock. The two men, one bald and wiry, the other with a thicket of gray hair, lunge at you, punching and spitting. Thelga, the bartender, lifts a stout oaken rod and comes roaring around the bar, waving it above her head. Enough, she bellows. I'm trying to run a business here. You each lose 3 stamina.
Yay.
Thank you, Duke.
Yeah.
Guys, that was a good brawl. Because I'm Duke Jackson.
Because I'm too jacked.
You each lose 2 additional stamina unless you have brawling or endurance. I have both of those.
Nice, I lose 2 more.
Yeah, I lose 2 more as well.
You mark 1 progress in combat training at least, so that's something. Eventually, you, Norman, and a number of other belligerent patrons, each nursing bruises and sprains, find yourselves forcibly ejected and hurled out into the streets of Dragonholt.
Why'd you do that, dude?
The gnome bartender lies on his back in the mud of the street, chuckling to himself. He says, haven't had a good scrap like that since Riverwatch. Time passes. This encounter is complete. That's all the time?
Yep.
So what happens?
Read entry.
3877.
All right.
Just stab myself.
Duke Jackson is a danger to everyone around him.
My bad, man. I stole your moment.
And while
Oh, thank God.
Pudge is laying on the ground, I steal money from his wallet.
It's all
Fine.
I mean, we share money.
It's cumulative anyway, so. You return to your room and turn in for the night, collapsing into sleep almost immediately. Your dreams are strange and unsettled, full of lurking threats and the shadow of wings falling across the land, cast by a roaring fire. You wake in the middle of the night, cross to your window, and look out across a sleeping village by moonlight. Eventually, you sleep again and dream of an endless forest and a plaintive voice calling for you. You each recover half of your maximum stamina. Thank God.
Recover half up to 4, or I recover plus 4?
You recover half of your maximum stamina. So what's your maximum?
8.
You recover 4.
I recover 6, but I only needed 5. So I'm
back to maximum as well. You each refresh your activation token. The chapter of the story ends here. When you're ready to begin the next chapter, read entry 3432. There's a little section here I'm going to read. The end of each day marks the end of a chapter in the story. The end of a chapter is a great time to take a break. You might wish to stop playing for now and pick up from a later date. If so, record the entry number you've been directed on the story to read on story track so you can pick up where you left last time. So 3432 is where I'm going to start next time.
I wrote it.
Awesome. And I guess, I don't know if we have the option just to start the goblin one, or if we have to come back.
No, we have to go to 3432.
Okay. Well,
Guys,
that was quite an adventure.
we killed a lot of people today.
We killed no people, despite what you guys were miming.
I disagree.
Well, that is the end of the first chapter of the Dragonholt Village book. It was quite a doozy, I might say. I hope everyone at home enjoyed watching it, though. I sure enjoyed reading it and playing along with these 2 numbskulls over here. Their murderous desires.
Evil.
Yeah, I mean, again, let us know what you think of these videos. If you enjoy watching them, we will gladly keep doing them. There's, quite a bit to go in the adventures of Kieran, Duke, and Pudge. Yeah, so leave us some feedback. Of course, visit our website, boardcrazygames.com. We should have impressions on the website of updated as far as what we thought of this most recent section. I would assume we'll be doing that. I will at least. If you don't, I will. And check out our Facebook, our Twitter, for all of our social media goings on. And yeah, anything else before we wrap things up?
Well, just links to those are down below.
Well, thank you for watching once again, everyone. I'm D. Graham, Will.
Hello.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Next time. See you next time. Not goodbye. It's too permanent. Next time.
Toodaloo.